Doom Eternal is a fun game, straight up. This game is nothing but pure, gory, and bloody fun. There is no other words to describe this game. However, it is quite rage-inducing, I'm gonna be honest.
It keeps happening, he just gets stuck in the one spot. And he can't do anything about it!
But it can really be satisfying to beat those large areas where the game just kicked your ass. Doom Eternal is a great sequel to Doom 2016 and will satisfy all, whether you played Doom 2016 or not. First and foremost, I have to talk about the game's soundtrack. It is one of the best soundtracks in any game. It kicks ass. The game's score was done by Mike Gordon, who also scored Doom 2016 as well, and needless to say, he did an amazing job with the music again, and without him, the game might not be as good as it is. The music in this game makes those moments where you're ripping and tearing demons apart just so much more fun and awesome, and it really made me feel more immersed in the game world as well, especially when playing with some great headphones. The heavy metal music within the game makes it just feel 10 times better and makes Doom all that more fun for the player, and it creates an atmosphere like no other. On top of this awesome music, the art style was beautiful, in that kind of apocalyptic and destruction kind of way. Earth is essentially a new hell, and it is really cool, and it's an amazing backdrop to be just absolutely destroying demons in. I think it adds so much more to the game tonally and aesthetically, and without this kind of art style, it would be really boring killing demons in a very bland environment. I think the art and level designers did a really good job of creating some beautifully crafted levels and backdrops, because the game definitely changes a lot in terms of art direction and style. Compared to Doom 2016, Doom Eternal has slowed things down just a little bit. This time around, ammo and health are a little bit more hard to come by. For most of the game, I constantly found myself low on ammo, and this is where the chainsaw comes into play. So instead of it just being a brutal and gory melee weapon like it was in Doom 2016, it is now our source of ammo for the player needing the chainsaw, countless enemies just to get some ammo. Now, you do get a fair amount of ammo from just chainsawing one enemy. It doesn't really matter on what type of enemy, you still get the same amount of ammo. And the same goes for the glory kills this time around. Each glory kill gives the player health now as well, and you kind of need to balance these two things so that you don't die or run out of ammo, and it can be a really big pain in the ass to run out of ammo. With all of that as well, a flamethrower is used to kind of debuff enemies and make them drop armor for the player in order to give them some extra protection, which, let me just say, you will definitely need, and it will make your life 10 times easier, because I didn't really bother with the armor early on in the game, and I found myself getting my ass absolutely kicked. But with the armor added, it always helped with that extra protection in the larger areas, but I also kind of got a little bit more experienced with the game as well. Doom Eternal gives the player a lot of options, and I mean a lot of options in terms of upgrades and secondary weapons. There is a lot to juggle, and a lot of it is given to the player within the first couple of hours of the game, and it can really seem overwhelming. The player is given a flamethrower, grenades, chainsaw, and many other things along the way, and it can create quite a learning curve that even the experienced players of Doom 2016 will see. With that being said, you can really feel like an unstoppable fucking force when you pull off an encounter, using everything at your disposal and absolutely kicking ass. And this really did surprise me, because this game is anything but simple. It's really complex and complicated, and I think they went a little bit overboard on how complicated and complex things get in the game. And whilst I'm all for shooters that make you think and be calculated, Doom Eternal just went a little bit too far in my opinion. And that is really my biggest complaint about this game. In terms of weapons, the game gives you a lot of options, with each class of weapon kind of having two of its own guns, and each class has its own strengths and weaknesses and works against different types of demons in certain ways. Personally, I really liked using the classic superpowered double barrel shotgun, and it was really OP, and I upgraded it to the point of where now with the grappling hook, which is also new, also lights demons on fire, so every time I killed them I got a bunch of armor as well. But there are a lot of options, like I said, to choose from for the guns. And there are a lot of upgrades available to you, with some seeming kind of pointless, but others will seem a lot more powerful and important. And there's also a very big upgrade at the end of each gun after you get all the smaller upgrades. But each gun is unique, and one gun is probably going to be better than the other at taking down certain types of archetypes of demons. That being said, the enemies in this game are no joke. You will find your ass being kicked, like I've said over and over in this review. It's really hard. Some of the demons are fucking ridiculous, and they throw some really strong ones at you right out of the gate. But as you get over that learning curve and figure out the strengths and weaknesses, you kind of figure out those strong demons at the start of the game ain't really strong, because you ain't seen nothing yet. And by the end, you'll find yourself just absolutely destroying those demons that were giving you so much trouble at the start, because they just decide to start throwing mini bosses at you by the end of this game, and they are very strong. And if any of you have seen my stream, I raged quite a lot fighting one of these mini bosses, and the game gets hard, like really hard, even if you do figure it out. And I think that's what makes it fun, because if you get your ass kicked a lot, you'll figure it out eventually, and you just get straight back into it. But it can be quite rage-inducing. But let's talk about platforming. Yay. Don't we all love platforming? Because it's kind of actually a big deal in Doom Eternal. It is a fun new thing, if I'm being honest, and it gives great moments of relief and quiet in the game that is filled with chaos and destruction. However, this isn't a Mirror's Edge game, and it kind of can be finicky, and it can be a little annoying, especially in certain areas, and you can really struggle due to the game just being in first person, and sometimes the detection isn't the greatest. But it is pretty forgiving in a lot of parts as well, with that being said, and you won't find yourself struggling too much with areas, but you will find one or two areas that you'll probably have a lot of trouble with. With platforming being added though, it gave Bethesda a good way to hide some of the many collectibles that are found in this game. From things like cheat codes, toys, and even soundtracks, all the way to different things like upgrades for your suit, upgrades for guns, ammo, and even hidden arenas in the game. This game has a lot to look for and can hide a lot of things extremely well, and put a lot of these collectibles in some pretty rough and hard to reach areas. The best things I was so happy to see this time around in Doom Eternal is more of an emphasis on story, which I'm going to be honest, I was really surprised to see, and it's actually a really interesting and well written story, and it even goes far enough to kind of give us an origin story for the Doomslayer himself and why he's so fucking powerful. Furthermore, we see why the Earth is being invaded, why the demons are killing so many. A lot of this is actually really important and really interesting to the story, obviously, and it gives you a good reason to be killing a fuck ton of demons. This emphasis on story is something I'd love to see more in future Doom games, and it really added that extra layer I felt that was somewhat missing from Doom 2016. But now, I know that a lot of you guys probably ain't looking for a story when you buy Doom, but it definitely added a nice extra layer of complexity that was lacking in the last entry, and it was just nice to see. Whilst the gameplay itself I felt was a little too complex, I think the story is pretty good for a Doom game, and I'd actually like to see them even just go a little bit further down and dive deeper into the world of Doom in the next entry. Doom Eternal is awesome, and I think new and old fans alike will have nothing but non-stop fun of tearing and ripping and blowing up demons, with some awesome and unique backdrops, with a story that will only further entice players to continue to play. Doom Eternal is definitely one of the best games of 2020, with one of the best intros to a game I think I've ever seen, combined with a great story, a sick heavy metal soundtrack that only makes the game that much better. Doom Eternal is one of the best and most unique first-person shooters I've ever played. In my opinion, the game is a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. My name is Seth. I do all the YouTube stuff for Silver Cell Gaming. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, all that good shit. Check out our Patreon, Twitch, YouTube, which you're on now, why do they say that, and everything else that's in there. Check the description for all the links. And I'll see you guys hopefully later this week for a stream and next week for a video. Make sure you go out and buy Doom Eternal, it's really fucking fun.